day he is a husband, father, and boring old fart. But by night he's, well, the same. But he also does stuff. Hello and welcome to That Mental Ginger Show with me, Andrew the Mental Ginger, because if there's one thing that's more disturbing than being a ginger, it's being a ginger with mental health issues. So let's see what we've got on the show for you tonight. Stuff! Tonight's show is based around theatre. Our topic of discussion for tonight is, do you think theatre will survive the coronavirus pandemic? This is due to information that has recently come out that theatres will most likely not open until the beginning of 2021, putting financial strain and pressure on theatre companies. Do you think theatre will survive? Do you think it will go under? We'll look at your comments and discuss later on in the show. Also tonight, we have a very special guest, Alan Brady from Our Time Theatre Company, who will talk about his journey from forming in theatre to setting up his own theatre company and sell-out shows in Glasgow. To start the show tonight, we have the lovely Carole Andrews performing a monologue written by myself. It's called Online Dating, A Search for Sanity.
Right, let's get the camera sorted. I'm no good with these bloody things. Should have bought a laptop with a webcam. Okay, that should do it. Is it on? The wee light's blinking. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Ah, fuck it. If it's not on, then at least I'll get some things off my chest. Hello and welcome to Sheila McLean's online dating video. Not sure what I need to say because all my information's on my profile, like it has been for the last year and a half. But the site says you've got a higher chance of getting results with a friendly video, so I might as well give it a try. So, as previously stated, my name is Sheila. I am 40, single obviously, otherwise there would be no need for this video, and looking for love. I say looking, but not intently. If something comes along, great, but if not, I'm happy with my career as a freelance job hunter. I've tried dating in all the usual ways, like speed dating, which was utterly depressing. I've never met a sadder shower of bastards in my whole life. To say you scrape the bottom of the barrel is an insult to the contents that were in said barrel. Blind dates are also terrible. Not knowing who the person is or anything about them before you meet them can be quite daunting, so I always open with my classic blind date joke. Question: how did my blind date get poke marks on his face? Answer: learning to eat with a fork. You don't get it? Well, the blind date is actually blind, so when he tries to eat his meal with a fork, it hits his face. Oh, how I laughed at that one. The blind man who ironically turned up for the date didn't. Normal dates don't go so well either. Apparently I have a grating personality. Well, that's not the case at all. I just don't like arseholes. My mother always said life is too short to spend it with people that irritate you, which might explain why I don't have many friends. What else can I tell you about myself? I like to read, browsing through web articles. I'm very good at memorising facts and figures. The more you know, the more you show, you know. I even did some research into online dating before I decided to try it out. I was quite surprised by what I discovered. Did you know that we first began clicking for love at the start of the millennium? And at that point in time, only 100,000 dating personals, as they were called back then, were on the internet. Since then, the number of users has increased dramatically, with around 6.3 million Britons logging on to dating websites every month, and another 2.8 million logging on to the adult dating sites. I don't mean porn sites, by the way. At least with those, you know what you're getting, you know. No, a quick fumble about the bush and you still have time to catch the second part of Corey. No, I mean the sites that have naughty people talking about their anatomy to you while their significant other is in the room. Imagine that. Gone are the days when you would meet somebody in a bar or have a meet cute encounter. It's been replaced by an online system filled with questions and surveys as long as your arm. I had a look at some of the profiles on here before I officially signed up, and well, there were a lot of things that stood out. Some things stood up. But the one thing that draws my attention when you look at the profiles on a dating website is that they give you no insight into the real you. They encourage you to create a false persona to make you seem more desirable to the opposite sex. We live in a culture of modesty and restraint, and in certain situations, such as job interviews, we tend to sell ourselves short, preferring to highlight our weaknesses rather than our strengths. So trying to sell yourself in an About Me section of an online database can be tough. You want to highlight your best qualities, but you don't want to seem obnoxious. The written word is easy to misinterpret. You could be talking about your ideal match and they might see this as being blunt, sarcastic, or just plain rude. Now, in keeping with the point of the ideal match, lots of sites make you do questionnaires on what type of person you are and what you would like from a partner, and to try to pair you up with somebody based on the answers you've given. These questionnaires are like arranged marriages, but instead of your parents doing it, a computer has taken up the mantle. For example, if your parents said to you, I know somebody that's just perfect for you, you would probably give them the same answer I would give mine. Fuck off. How is that any different from submitting your personal information onto a database and having that fix you up? Then once you get through the barrage of questions, the first thing you see when you search for your ideal match is a picture. And in most cases, what springs to mind is, Jesus, he's honking, I'm no touching that with a barge pole. People will argue that this is unbelievably shallow, and it's what is inside a person that counts. While others believe that if you aren't attracted to a person, there's no chance of a relationship working, and therein lies the problem. I'm not saying these sites aren't beneficial for the people that use them for their intended purpose. Maybe they're tired of going to bars and meeting the same people over and over again. God knows I was. You see the sleazy barflies just looking for a bit of fun, loaded up on Strongbow using the best chat-up line in the world. He's a go hen, you're not getting any better. No offence, but I would rather be attacked by a horde of wild wildebeest than let you go anywhere near my vagina. There are thousands of couples out there who've met online, got married, and are still living a happily ever after dream that we all crave. You can just picture them, sitting together, all smiles, like in one of those cheesy adverts with a disclaimer underneath that reads, "Warning, intense waves of love and affection will cause nausea, jealousy and irritation in singletons within a 50-mile radius." It's all well and good if you can meet the right person, but here's a question for you. Have you ever met somebody in person and just froze because you can't think of anything to say? There's a very long, lingering silence which becomes too uncomfortable, and in the end you both just walk out feeling stupid. Now try having that feeling every time you open a chat window on your computer. Fingers stuck hovering over the keyboard while you brain fart over what you should type. Dating websites tell you that just saying hi won't get any responses. It's not original. Think of something clever and inventive. Well, that's a bit hard to do when you aren't exactly a lyrical wordsmith at the best of times. And when you finally do send the message and nobody responds, you start to question everything about yourself. What am I doing wrong? Is there something wrong with my profile picture? Maybe I'm coming across as too needy or too demanding. Is my profile driving people away? But the problem doesn't lie with you. It lies with the websites. They've taken away that personality which comes from meeting somebody in the flesh. They don't go into your loves, hates, eccentricities and quirks. That comes with chance encounters, getting to know someone by going for a walk or sharing mutual interests. Unlike dating was supposed to make our lives easier, but instead it's created more stumbling blocks for people who have a hard time trying to meet someone. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't actually want to do this video. I don't want to be subjected to ridicule and scrutiny because I don't match up to somebody's expectations, or have to change who I am because it'll get me more fish than are already swimming in a bad pond. I'm happy with who I am, flaws and all. And if you can't accept that, then you aren't worth my time. Maybe one day I'll meet someone who won't see me as a meaningless one-night stand or a good match for their gay best friend. But until that day comes, I have to say that I'm okay with being single. I'll still upload the video to my profile because there's no point in me ranting down a camera for 10 minutes with nobody to hear my take on the world, but I'll leave you with one question. Is it better to meet somebody face to face or by clicking on profiles? That, my friends, is up to you.
Okay, time to move on to tonight's discussion. Before we start the topic of discussion, I just want to say again a big thank you to Carole Andrews for reading that monologue. I know some of the language was a bit choice, and I really do appreciate you doing that for me. Thank you very much. Now we move on to tonight's discussion. The topic is, will theatre survive the coronavirus pandemic? This is based on some articles that have came out saying that the theatre leaders are in lockdown turmoil, saying that they will be one of the last places to reopen after the coronavirus lockdown is lifted, meaning venues, actors and crews are fearing for their futures. This will be a pretty quick topic of discussion because we didn't get that many comments and responses from people. Shows you where my standing is in the industry. And based on the content that we've got coming up and the content that we've had before, running to time quite excessively, it'll be the longest episode that I'm recording so far. This will be the longest recorded episode in the history of recorded episodes. And I know my episodes. That's a really bad Donald Trump accent and impersonation. I do apologise. So let's jump into the whole 2 comments that I got. First comment comes from Chris Tucker. No, not that Chris Tucker. It says, people get more from live performances than TV. It's the experience that matters. John Steele says, I think it can, but it will look different. Like all of society, we are going to have a new world we will walk into after this. There was an interesting article published about theatre during lockdown on the 14th of May on BBC News website by Ian Youngs, the entertainment and arts reporter. There were some fascinating insights and some good interviews with people that are currently in the industry, and a couple of them really do sum up the state of theatre right now. Kwame Alma, once again apologies if I mispronounced that, from Young Vic says, right now we are at the tourniquet stage. We're trying to stem the bleeding. Then we're going to have to stand up. Then we're going to have to run. We're going to need to help at each stage in order to get back to not even the way it was, but to get back to something that is sustainable and safe. In order to social distance at 2 metres, we would lose 3/4 of our audience. And then we have to work out how you create a safe space for the rest of the staff, backstage and in the rehearsal room. Then we have to work out what the public appetite might be towards coming back into the theatre. Pitlochry Festival Theatre in the Scottish Islands had to postpone their summer season, which was due to start the following week, but the artistic director, Elizabeth Newman, is organising other activities. Elizabeth says, we've tried to remain a producing organisation that is making art. On the one hand, we're doing that, and on the other, myself and Chris Bryce, the executive director, are working around the clock to work out how we can survive the crisis. Some tough decisions are going to have to be made, and it's not going to be small changes, it's going to be big changes for a time, and that feels incredibly painful if I'm honest. It's going to be the last industry that's going to be able to get up to full function, and we are just praying that they're going to come back with some sort of relief and support. Now, what's the government's thinking on the arts going the way of the dinosaur? Well, Downing Street's Communities Secretary Robert Jenrick said, all of us who care about the arts are very concerned for the future of theatres, museums and galleries, performing arts, all of those who work in the sector. The arts are incredibly important to the UK and one of our great international strengths, as well as being important for our well-being. So true to BBC News standards, it's pretty much doom and gloom all round. Everybody thinks that theatre is going to die, and there is pretty much nothing we can do about it. What do I think? Do I think theatre is going to die? Of course not. I'm a theatre man. I love the performing arts, as everybody knows. Do not see it going under. However, I do see it taking severe damage, and it will come back in a totally different form. With the rise of things like podcasts and online streaming, doing performances over Zoom, there are different ways that people are going to be able to create and perform and express themselves and give their ideas and opinions. Some of the lockdown sessions that have came out of this have been absolutely awe-inspiring. Professional companies, I personally don't see them going out of business because they are a money-making machine. The big productions, the big theatre companies, they'll be able to lick their wounds, so to speak, and be able to carry on. It's the smaller scale productions that I'm particularly worried about. Funding will be cut. Some people won't be able to afford the fees that it takes to keep a theatre company up and running, and they might fall to the wayside. And that's where the community spirit and community support is going to need to come in to try and make sure that we don't lose theatre. Amateur dramatics, that might be the one that suffers the most, because speaking from my own area of North Lanarkshire, they were struggling before the pandemic kicked off. They had a total of 3 amateur dramatics groups, and I really hope I'm wrong, I only think that one will survive. And it's not against any of the other groups, because they do a fantastic job, but everybody has to play a part. We're going to have to make sure that we give them the support that they need and deserve. And we'll do my best to try and support local theatre as much as I can, because it does help for people's mental health. It gives them a purpose, it gives them somewhere to go, something to do. And it's my cousin, who is 15, and he started out in the Monklands Light Opera in the juniors group, and I've seen such a transformation in him. Like, he's so much more confident, he's getting lead parts left, right and centre in any show that he does. I am unbelievably proud of him, the way that he just grows with every performance, and his confidence just increases, and anytime I see him on stage, I'm just so proud. Honestly, I think that he does decide this is going to be a career for him. He has the right mindset, which he definitely does. If he has the talent, which he definitely does, he's a triple threat, he'd be able to do something in this industry. So you've got very high praise from your big cousin and from a lot of people that have worked with you. Take the advice on board and go for it. But we also have to make sure that there's theatre companies for you to go to and opportunities for you within the industry after coronavirus has passed. So we'll definitely have to try and make sure that that happens. Anyway, went into a bit of a tangent there, and with the time running on a bit, maybe we should now jump into tonight's special guest, Alan Brady from Our Time Theatre Group.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the poor unfortunate soul who is tonight's special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the poor unfortunate soul who is tonight's special guest.
Alan, welcome to the show. Tell us a bit more about your background. What drove the working class boy from Easterhouse to the performing arts?
What drove me? I don't know if I was drove towards the arts as I was drove away from the arts when I was younger. I went to school in Easterhouse, as you know, mate, and it wasn't really encouraged to be into acting or anything artistic or any of the kind of arty things at all. Do you know, kind of bullied for it, to be honest. I used to love drama. I used to love drama at primary school. I used to love it at secondary school. I remember with a great drama teacher, and she used to give us exercises. She maybe give me a wee theme or even a wee word. And it would be like split into groups and go and spend a bit of time, come up with a few ideas, bounce a few ideas about, and come up with a wee performance. And it was probably the only time I ever felt confident enough to take the lead in anything at school. And I would be the one, right, do this, we'll say this, and we'll do that, and if you do this, and if you do that, and why don't we do this? And do you know, I get totally and utterly immersed in it. And she was dead encouraging, do you know, really, really encouraging. But like I say, when I went to secondary school, it was kind of a frowned upon, do you know, and well, I'm no kidding on, you were kind of bullied if you like that. So it was easy to walk away from it and kid on, you didn't like it, and be one of the boys and try and fit in and stuff, do you know. But I always regretted not being strong enough to kind of stick with what I thought. So I was never driven towards it at a young age. I was never encouraged. My family never encouraged me. I don't think many people knew that I liked it so much. It was a kind of escapism for what was going on round about, you know, and I loved kind of getting caught up in all the excitement of planning things and making wee scripts and stuff. I used to spend hours and hours in my room writing stories and writing wee plans and writing stuff, and I would bury it in a big folder under my bed.
When you took your first steps out into the world of performance, you had a lot of support from your family and friends, and rightly so. But did you ever have anyone trying to discourage you, or did you have your own moments of self-doubt?
My first steps into the world of performing was pretty terrifying. As I said earlier, I've always kind of written stuff, and I've always had wee stories and stuff and ideas down on paper. And one of my friends told me about an organisation called Acting Up, who were asking for scripts to be sent in, and what they would do, they would pick 5 performances to put on. I think it was once a month at the time, and I thought, I wonder if I should give that a go. Terrified, obviously, but I thought, I wonder if I should give that a go. So before I submitted anything, I would like to see one of the acting up performances, and that's where I met yourself, obviously, and you were performing as a soldier in one of the plays, and it was pretty loud and pretty boisterous. And then I seen something at that performance that kind of changed how I felt about stuff. It really, really impacted me. And there was an actor, I better not say his name in case I embarrass him, or maybe I'm not allowed to, but he was performing a solo piece, and he was playing part of a guy in a kind of mental institution, and it was a fake gun, but it was representative of a real gun, obviously, and he thought it was a real gun in his mind, and he was telling a backstory about how he became unhinged, but he didn't obviously realise he was unhinged, he was just telling a story about what happened and stuff. And as the audience, we seen how it drove him to despair and drove him to kind of insanity. And I thought, oh my God, this is absolutely astonishing, absolutely amazing. And I left there and I thought, I'm going to put it in. But having seen him kind of put me off a wee bit, because I thought nothing I write will ever be good enough. So I kind of got the courage up and I sent it in, and I waited and I checked my emails every 20 minutes. And it gets selected to be performed. I went, oh, what did I do now? How do I go with this now? So as you know, I phoned yourself to see if you would perform it with me. It was a two-part. It was a two-manner. And I asked yourself, because I didn't know any acting. Not that I'd ask anything else, I don't mean like that. But I didn't really know any acting game it. And I wasn't kind of friendly with anybody. I didn't have any feels with anyone. All I did was written this thing and submitted it, and it got picked. So I asked you if you would kind of join me and kind of help me performing it. And it was a thing called The Code. And it was about two guys who are best pals and chat about everything except the really important stuff. And they hide behind this kind of facade, this manliness. And one of them, my character, my wife was out boozing every night, and I was having a bit of a nightmare about it, but I wasn't telling anybody, I wasn't talking to you or anybody else, my best pal, and you were gay, and you didn't want to tell anybody that either. It was all kind of, nothing was being disclosed, none of the important stuff was being disclosed, and put out there, and it was kind of well received. And that was it. But at that, a few of my pals came along, I was telling the world what I was doing. I was all chuffed, I was terrified, absolutely terrified. But a lot of people come along to support me and, just to be there for me. But because I was performing as well, that made me even more terrified. But that's where I got the buzz for it, that's when I knew this is something I've always kind of wanted to be involved in and always wanted to do. So let's give it a go, and I've received an immense amount of support from friends and family. And a lot of good wishes and stuff, and they've been really, really generous with their support, and even sharing posts for stuff we've got coming up, and coming along to see the fundraiser we put on, the plays that we put on, and I never ever take it for granted. It should never be taken for granted by anybody, but it's an amazing thing to look at in an audience and see a lot of friends and family there as well. And what's beautiful as well, what's an amazing thing as well, is they tell their pals and their family members and different things. So the audiences are getting bigger and bigger, and we're kind of fortunate now, we're kind of selling out theatres sometimes when we put plays on, and there's new guys coming along and kind of giving us feedback and stuff. So it's kind of grew arms and legs, and it's became an amazing thing, an absolute, it takes a lot of work behind the scenes. Myself and Christy put in a lot of work behind the scenes, and getting rehearsal space and getting actors and get performances, doing rehearsals and props and everything else that goes with it. But what a buzz, what an absolute buzz is to get it. But yeah, I'll be eternally grateful for everybody that came along to our first wee fundraisers and helped us kind of get take our first feet. Deborah and I kind of put the theatre company together to start with, and it grew from there. But it would never happen if these guys hadn't come along to support us honestly. So we're forever grateful, and we continue to be grateful for them coming along to see us.
I'm very fortunate to say that I was part of your first mini show, and it was an honour and a privilege to be part of it. Then, off the back of that success, you set up Our Time Theatre Company. Could you tell us a little bit more about the process from going to actor to company director? Because it can be a long, hard road to set up a successful theatre company.
Indeed, you were part of the very first performance I was involved in at Acting Up, mate, which I'm eternally grateful for. Thanks very much for that. We don't see each other often enough lately, but thanks so much for that. And on the back of that, the Airtime Theatre Group was set up. It was a process. It was a learning process, like everything else. And it was one of the things, necessity is the mother of all invention, I suppose, because I'd done a couple of short plays and they went on acting up, and again, thankfully they were well received, and people were coming and asking if we were doing anything else. So I had written a play, and it was lying in a drawer, called Turn a Different Corner. It was a full-length play, and I had no idea what to do, but I kind of knew I always wanted to put it on stage and see what would happen and take the chance. I was I've always been quite positive about that one, the very first play I wrote, a full-length play that I wrote, Turn a Different Corner. But it never occurred to me to take it around different theatre companies and, kind of try and sell it to theatre companies or try and sell it to producers to put it on. It never dawned on me that that's the way forward, because I was quite naive, I didn't know anything about the acting game or the process or anything at all to get a performance or a page onto a stage. I had no idea how to go about it. So again, fortunately I met Deborah. She was acting up maybe the second or third time I was there, and I wrote a play called Survive, a short play called Survive, and she performed that with me as well. That was about the impact of rape on the husband of a rape survivor, and I like that challenging thing, the subjects that people don't like to talk about, so we did that. And I get friendly with Deborah. And the frightening thing, well, no frightening, the funny thing, 20 minutes before we were due to perform that play, I looked at the audience and there was a couple of my cousins there. And I went down and asked them how they got to hear about it. And they said they'd came to support Deborah. I went, but you're my cousins. And they went, aye, but Deborah's married to your cousin. It turned out Deborah was married to my cousin, who I hadn't seen for maybe 30 odd years. I'd been rehearsing in his house and didn't know it was my cousin, so that was pretty fruity as well. But Deborah gave me so much advice, and nothing would have happened without Deborah. I've got to be honest, Deborah kind of knew how to progress and how to move things forward. And even some of the phrases I didn't know. I mean, I didn't even know what a workshop was. People say, why don't you workshop the play to see how it's received and how it's kind of going to work? And I didn't even know what workshopping a play was. So talking to Deborah knew much more about it than me. She'd been to drama school down in England and different things, and was very kind of well versed in the theatre and the etiquette and different things. So we did a workshop, and we decided we would put it on. We did rehearsals and stuff. We did auditions, and then we did rehearsals. And from then, as that was happening, it was kind of apparent that we needed a logo and we needed something to tie the performance to. So we decided to set up the theatre company. So I got a pal to make up a logo, and Airtime Theatre Group was born. And pretty much 20 minutes after it was born, and all the logos would get sent out, and I was dead excited, I kind of realised I should have called it Airtime Theatre Company, because I never really liked Airtime Theatre Group. It sounded quite, sounded like an amateur dramatic group when it kind of got put together, but it became what it became, and it grew. So we started Airtime Theatre Group, and that's what we went on. That was the kind of vehicle we used to put on Turn a Different Corner, and we put it on for 5 nights. I think we put it on for 5 nights, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think it was. And again, naively, I just assumed that people would come every night, no knowing that Thursday night was a great night for theatre audiences. So again, everything's just been a learning process, every single thing. But Friday, Saturday, it sold it, and it was like, oh, wow. And I remember looking at the audience, and there was guys from my work there, and there was women from my work, and people I knew. And some of the guys were in the front row that I knew, and my character was Tam, and I'm out performing and stuff, and I'm looking at them, and they're in floods of tears at what they're seeing on stage, and I went, oh my, this is working, do you know? If we can get people laughing, crying, whatever it might be, do you know, thinking about stuff, going home and talking about it, that's job done for me. And that was the kind of validation, I suppose, that was needed to put more performances on. I never ever stop writing. I can't stop writing. I can't turn it off. There's nights I'm up to 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and I can't stop writing. Other days I go, and I'm kind of cool about it. But I've usually got a wee tape recorder with me, and I'm kind of thinking of stuff all the time. But to have the theatre company behind us was a great vehicle, I have to say. and it's been really great. And we've got some news coming up, so tune into this space. We've got some news coming up. There's going to be a wee progression with the theatre company, and we're going to be doing some different stuff that we're going to announce when it's a better time. I just think there's so much other people having to concentrate on now. It's not a great time. People are worried and people are terrified, and rightly so. So it's not really the time for just putting stuff out there. It's not really that important in the big picture, but we'll kind of keep you clued in about that.
Your first show, Turn a Different Corner, was a massive success, selling out the Webster's Theatre to standing ovations and massive critical acclaim. I was there on the Saturday night and it was absolutely amazing. You've done a fantastic job. And since then, you've continued to have a great run of sellout shows, and Our Time Theatre Company is one of the most original theatre companies in recent times. It's standing out amongst the crowd during times like the coronavirus. While thoroughly deserved, did you ever think that Our Time would take off in the way that it has?
It's kind of weird because I think after Turn a Different Corner, and I suppose you could call it success, again, it was the first thing we'd done, and I had no idea that it was quite exceptional to sell out a theatre. That sounds terrible, but it never dawned on me. That's how it happened. Again, just massive support for friends and family, which we've never ever took for granted, as I said earlier on. On the back of that, we did, what was the one we done after? We did Two Tribes, which is a comedy, and then we did Booze, which we're kind of hoping to take to the Edinburgh Fringe. If we can get some money together, that would be the one I would love to take to the Fringe, because I think there's a message in that. And again, do you know, it's not about selling out theatres, it's not about having every seat taken as an ego trip for the theatre company, for actors or anything else. I think it's an amazing thing for the actors to come out to a full theatre. I mean, everybody would love it. I mean, it's a great feeling, and it's the energy and the buzz, and that's what the guys do it for. But if you've got a play like Booze and you want to get a message out there, and there's as many bums on seats that can hear that message, then I think that's just an amazing thing. I think I get to write plays and I get to put stuff together, and I've got a great crowd round about me that are dead support. Christy works so hard. Christy, the other half of the theatre company, she works amazingly hard, and we put stuff together, and she does all the technical stuff and the stuff that I just find baffling. Do you know? And we kind of work it together. But there's a kind of energy around about doing certain plays and getting it all together and doing all the rehearsals and dress and tech and different things. And I don't know, but I think because the theatre company isn't a set of actors, it's not like, I know other theatre companies have got a usual set of actors, the kind of go-to guys that they've got in a cast, and they kind of recast different characters and use and a rotation thing. We audition for every new play we put on, because I don't think, just me personally, I don't know if it's just me, or maybe I'm weird, I don't know. I just kind of think that if there's characters on that page and somebody can bring them to life that's out there, rather than somebody that's done something before, it's not that somebody that's been one of the previous plays isn't good enough or doesn't have the ability to be that character. That's never ever been the case either. It's just that there's guys out there that come along to auditions and blow you away, absolutely blow you away. I think the only time, I'm trying to be very careful here, but I think the only time there's ever been Andy came to an audition and I've instantly thought, that's it, game the part, was a guy, Davey Alexander, who's a very good friend of mine, and he came along to audition for Booze, and he came into the room and he did a read through it, and then he did, with a kind of script, just to kind of hand to him to see how he interpreted it and things, and he absolutely blew it away. And for that second, it was like, he's a guy, he's a go-to guy, you just know, you get a feeling. And I think as the theatre company grows and as the more performances we put on, I think that becomes easier to determine and assess who is going to be right for the role. The horrible thing, if there's a horrible thing about being director of a theatre company, is letting guys know that they've been unsuccessful in getting a role. That's never going to get easier, and it's never ever going to be a nice thing to do, because a lot of these guys are friends and you become friendly with them, and then maybe been in previous performances, and you're spending loads of time, spending loads of energy rehearsing for weeks and weeks at a time, and you get a kind of bond with them, you know. So it's not a nice thing if they've come in for auditions and they've been unsuccessful. They know the score, you know. They know before they come in, it's nothing personal, and we need to do the right thing. It's just a thing I hate. If there is one thing I hate doing, it is that. But we're kind of all hoping that the theatre company and the things that we do in the future become bigger and bigger and bigger. Do you know, we've been in Webster's Theatre now for, I think, 5-6 years, and it's great. The theatre's absolutely fantastic. They're so friendly, so welcoming, so accommodating. But it'd be nice to see if we could take these performances elsewhere. And you know, that's the gamble. I have to be honest. It's an absolute gamble, because we know if we put something in a glass, we don't know. We never take it for granted, as I keep stressing. But we're quite confident we'll get the support in Glasgow, that people come and see us and support us. But if we go to Edinburgh, we go to Perth, we go to Greenock, we go to different places, nobody knows us. So we kind of start from scratch, and that's a huge gamble, and it's a huge financial gamble if we're taking performances to these places. But it's something we're going to have to do. We're going to have to look at where we're heading, do you know, and kind of get a wee mark forward, because we can't stand still. We can't just stay where we are and keep doing the same thing every year, because it'll become a wee bit stagnant, I suppose. So we're up for challenging ourselves. We're really, really up for that. As I say, we'd love to do Edinburgh, if finances permitting. We'd love to tour plays and take them on the road and experience all that. So that would be new and challenging. And do you know, there is nothing about this that I don't look forward to and I don't cherish that I get today. I've got an incredibly supportive wife and family who allow me the freedom to do all this stuff. Do you know, they never moan about the time that gets spent out the house and the time it takes to put everything together, because they know it's just something I need to do. Do you know, I love it, and I know for a fact I'm blessed that I get to do it. A lot of people would love to get to do this, and for whatever reason they don't. You know, they have to hold down jobs, they have to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and do you know, they can't devote the time that's needed for this. So I know how lucky I am, and I know how blessed I am that I get to do this.
With coronavirus taking a hit on life as we know it, how have you and your theatre company adapted to these changes? Have you been trying to do live streaming events, podcasts?
Good question, Andrew. If I'm honest, we've not been participating a lot lately on social media and putting stuff out there. Well, no, for the theatre company anyway. Behind the scenes, we've been doing so much, because, as I say, we've got big changes coming with the theatre company, and we've been putting things in place and working on things that are very, very time consuming behind the scenes, so that whenever we get back to whatever the new normal is going to be, and hopefully it's something approaching what we had, we're kind of good to go. Because I think people have been in an incredibly stressful situation. I mean, this is unheard of, this is unknown. It's nothing like anything I've ever experienced, and I don't suppose anybody else has. But it's definitely taking its toll on people, and I think when we come out of this at the other end, I think there is going to be no a duty, no a responsibility. I don't mean anything like that, but maybe a need for theatre companies to start some entertainment for people and give them a bit of relief for what they have been experiencing, and the stress and anxiety levels and things. You know, maybe it's time for a wee break. And if we can put shows on, I have no idea how we're going to put on theatres. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know about social distancing and different things. I don't know what's going to that. I don't know what that's going to do to audiences. I don't know how it's going to affect. I don't know how it'll be implemented. I'm not really sure. Nobody does. But we've got stuff there for when we can. We've actually got a show good to go, Budgies, that we did a wee trailer for in the last fundraiser, and it was funny. It seemed to be kind of well received. So that's ready to go into production, but we can't get rehearsal space together. Everything's at a standstill. So we've not been doing much social media wise or anything else, but there's so much been going on behind the scenes. I did a wee kind of a video about Sean Batty and it was just a rant, and it was meant to be a comedy sketch, and it was, and people were laughing, and I think it went kind of viral. People were phoning me from Canada and Manny's and all that, and saying, Alan, people are sending me this to my phone, and they were asking if it was me, but it was. But I was getting guys phoning me and saying, that's terrible, poor Sean. I was like, it's just a laugh. So I'm a bit hesitant about what I can put out on social media, because it might be funny in my head, and I would never want to offend them, did you know? And I hope Sean isn't listening, because it was just a joke, you know. I would never offend him. He's a lovely guy. But that's the reason I'm kind of hesitant about putting stuff out there. It might be funny in my head, but it might be offensive to other people. And I know emotions are a wee bit higher than them. But we're good to go. As soon as we can get back to something approaching normality. We've got stuff that's ready to go and stuff ready to get put out there and stuff hopefully ready to make the public have a wee laugh and a good smile and a good wee night out again.
Do you have any upcoming events or fundraisers or performances for once the coronavirus has passed?
Yeah, the one we've got ready to go into production is Budgies. It was written last year and it's good to go. Like I say, we're waiting on just the world kind of normalising so as we can get back to rehearsing and get back to getting the guys together. The story's about two women, a gay couple who are trying to adopt, and their pal gives them their budgie to look after them for a fortnight while they go away on holiday and the budgies die. So it kind of starts with that, you know, that's a kind of opening scene. And we did that in a fundraiser and it was kind of well received and people were laughing, so we decided to make that the full length production. But it's again, like most of the plays, it's got a wee message in it as well about how hard it is for gay couples to be accepted, about, you know, adoption and different things and how the world views it. And it's got a serious message in it as well, but it's funny, you know, it's funny, and I think the world's needing a wee laugh now. If we can make people go home with having had a good wee night and a good laugh, it's you know, that's to me is getting back to normal. So we can't wait, you know, we can't wait to get into the studio and rehearse and get into what we do best, you know, and put it all together and that, and the actors are buzzing and we're all just waiting, you know, we're all just kind of hanging on and waiting in a green light to start approaching normality again, and nobody knows when that's going to be. So, do you know, if 2020 gets written off for the theatre company performance-wise, we'll accept it, because there's stuff going on out there that's way more important than anything we're doing, you know, and there's people's lives are at risk. So we need to accept it and we need to be thankful. Well, I'm thankful, do you know, that we're getting taken care of and things are kind of looking okay. So as soon as we get the green light to go and to get things together, we will be sitting there like Trap 6 at Shawfield, and we'll be right out the traps at it.
Final question, Alan. What advice would you give to anyone who wants to try and take that first step into the arts?
Oh, what advice would I give? I think, firstly, don't make the mistake that I made and try to be something you know and keep in with a crowd that aren't really your pals anyway. Be true to yourself, and if you want to act and if you want to perform, you want to sing, you want to dance, you want to do whatever you want to do, go for it. Do you know, have a bit of belief in yourself, and if you've got support behind you, that's even better. But even if you've no, follow your dream. I know that sounds a wee bit corny and a wee bit staged, but I totally 100% mean that. It took me to go to my late 40s before I decided let's have a go at this, you know. In fact, it was totally accidental. The way things happened was there was a theatre company starting up where I live, an amateur dramatic theatre company. We Mitchell Kinnan started it, Bright Lights Theatre Company, and my daughter's childminder told me about it, and I went along with my daughter thinking it was like wee role play things and that, and it's a wee family thing, but it turned out to be an amateur dramatic theatre company, and they were holding auditions, and I became Buttons. I was Buttons in the pantomime, and then the following year I was a Dame, and it was great fun. It was absolutely great fun, and my daughter loved it as well. But again, like I said earlier on, I've always been writing stuff, and I had stuff in drawers, and there was serious stuff and messages and points of view I wanted to get out there. So that's when I decided, let's have a go, let's submit stuff to acting up. And you know, it's terrifying, and it's an amazing leap of faith, but the worst that can happen is maybe somebody will say, no, this time, it's not what we're looking for this time. But keep plodding away, you know, if you've got stuff, keep getting it a go. If it's lying in a drawer, are you a playwright if you write stuff and it's lying in a drawer? I don't know if you're a playwright. A playwright, to me, is somebody that has a go at putting it on, do you know, has a go at getting out there, even if asking a theatre company, do you want to have a go with this? And if you think it's good enough, and if you believe in it, keep plodding away, keep knocking on doors to see if somebody will put it on, or to see if somebody else has got a bit of faith in it, and take it to scratch nights, and take it to events like Acting Up. I mean, that was an amazing thing. Alison McKindle put that together, and what an amazing concept that people who had never been performing or never had written stuff before got a chance to show off what they could do. And if it hadn't been for Alison, I would never have had the confidence to write plays and put plays on. So, do you know, if it's meant for you, you'll get there, but have a bit of confidence in yourself, and don't take rejection as you're no good enough, because that's never the case. It might, again, like I said earlier on with auditions, guys come in for auditions, and if we say to them you've been unsuccessful, it doesn't mean they can't act, and it doesn't mean they're no good at what they're doing. It means that's not what we're looking for that particular role, or for that particular character, and that's all it is. It's never personal. But have a go in it, whether it is acting, go to auditions. As a guy now who sits the other side of the table and auditions people, and I see how terrified they are and how nervous they are and how much it takes. I have nothing but respect for these guys, even if they don't get the part. You know, they've had the, I don't want to use bad language, but they've had the nerve to get out there and give it a go, and I know it takes an immense amount of courage to do that. Do you know these guys come in shaking, absolutely shaking? So when we're having auditions, we try our best to make it light and kind of humorous if we can, and get to know the guys and have a wee chat to them before the audition and find out a wee bit about them and try and, you know, kind of get them a wee bit more relaxed before they do the audition piece. And that's a great thing if you come auditions. So have a bit of belief in yourself, and if it's something you want to do, keep trying and don't give up. Never ever give up. I mean, I'm no on any big success tips. You know, we've got a theatre company, we've got people that come and see us now, and it's great, but it's absolutely brilliant. But you know, see, if we didn't have a theatre company, nobody's come to see us, I'd put it on in my back garden for the neighbours and hope that they would come and see it. It's just something I need to do. And if it's in you, you need to go. If you're writing and you've got these ideas in your head, put them on paper, show them to people, ask people what they think, take them to scratch nights. If you can't get a scratch night in your area, organise one. Find out how people have organised scratch nights before and organise one yourself and get out there and encourage other people to do the same. And just have a bit of belief that you'll get there. I don't know that success is measurable. I don't know. For me, it's never been about success. I don't even know what success is. I really don't. I genuinely don't. I've got a need to write stuff. I've got a need to put stuff on paper. These characters all talk to me. These sounds amazing. It sounds a bit creepy, but it's the truth. There's these guys in my head that chat to me, and what they say to me, I need to put down on paper because it becomes real. And I use my. If I could give one bit of advice, I suppose, for them to writing stuff, if you've got events in your life, tragic as they may be, happy as they may be, whatever it is, draw on it. If you can become emotionally articulate, if you can actually put down on paper, not necessarily the events and stuff, but how it made you feel and how it makes people feel, and the emotional content, and I think that's what connects with audiences. I think that's what the wee guy sitting in the third row, and he's maybe squirming a bit because he sees himself on that stage. That's what it's about. Or I think, like Booze, I know I keep going back to Booze, but I think if there's a guy or a woman in that audience who was sitting and watched Booze and was so disturbed and they thought, I need to get to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting or an Al-Anon meeting, or I need to get myself to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, I need to get some help because he, maybe what they seen on stage or because of one of the characters had touched them so much, then that's job done. And again, that's where there's no ego in this, because I'll never know that. I will never know what Boo's done, how it impacted people. But if there was one play I was ever, I kind of meant to touch on it earlier on. The majority of plays I write because they're fun or whatever it might be. But you know, if there's one play I was putting myself to write, it was Boo's, because it was my life story. It was about different things, and it was about a story that's very, very, very seldom told, if ever, about the impact of growing up with parents with an addiction. So that was a story I felt had to be told, and if I never get to write anything again, and if I never get to put anything on a stage, that will live with me. Do you know, that's my achievement. That's the thing that done it for me. That's the one that rang my bell. So go for it. If you can put your emotions down, your feelings down, if you can make people laugh and you know you're funny, put it down, write it, send it to people who write scripts. What do you think yourself? And get a bit of advice on it. And again, don't take anything too personal or too serious if it's suggested to maybe change your alter stuff, and go for it. And that's it. And thanks very much for asking my long answers. I think my answers might be a wee bit long-winded, but I'm quite passionate about what I do. I'm very, very grateful for getting a chance to do it. And I'm grateful that you were the very first actor that asked to appear with me, and you said yes, and it kind of snowballed and led to where I'm at today, which is get to act, write, perform, put props together, do everything that's involved in a theatre company. So thanks very much, and thanks for asking me along today. Cheers, mate.
Alan, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to be part of this show. Well, it's nearly time to end the show, but before I do, I'd like to dedicate this episode to a very special person. As a lot of people know, I had a theatre company between 2014 and 2015 where I put on one feature-length show which I wrote and directed. One of the women starred in this show, Rosie Willis, passed away 2 years ago, and I couldn't get to her funeral to pay my proper respects because my sons were still in hospital at that time and we were living in the hospital with them before they came home, so I was unable to go. And even though I know I made the right call, felt guilty about not being able to attend the funeral. When I was doing my Ginger Parodies album in February, her husband Craig was doing guitar for one of the recordings, and we had a different singer on the final product, Xander Trevor, but we did a one take dummy run just to make sure the levels were okay and they knew what they were singing and what key to sing it in. So I kept this recording and I'm going to play it, and this is a dedication to Rosie Willis. A lot of people loved you, a lot of people miss you, and just hope that wherever you are right now, that you're actually not spending the time listening to a pissy YouTube show, that you're actually schmoozing it up there with some great people. And until next week, take care, stay safe, bye bye.
So you count, you've got the voice.
1, 2, 3, 4. I went to the doctors, I didn't want to be late. Waiting 69 minutes or so for him to tell me I'm overweight. I got quite offended, told him he was a twat. He said, not trying to make you feel bad, my boy, but let's face it, you're pretty fat. He said, start eating healthy, and then to my surprise, he said to get my flabby butt into gear and start doing some exercise. I could go out and buy some gym supplies, think I'll cut down on the burgers and fries, so I'll compromise, but I'll never try to go and exercise. I thought I'd go for a walk, but it's chucking it down. Don't think it's worth the hypothermia to possibly get robbed in the town. I tried to take up a sport, I thought hockey was fun, but the referee sent me to the bench, so I rammed that bloody stick up his bum. Don't like the gym because I despise egocentric people with their bulging thighs. You feel paralyzed when they criticize the way you exercise. So then when I go to work, my self-esteem's down the drain. I go to Poundland and I'll buy myself snacks to numb of my emotional pain. My motivation is gone, don't know what the heck I should do. Maybe I'll just take some laxatives and lose weight sitting on the loo. Maybe I should go and get hypnotized, stop eating before I get hospitalized. Hardly sympathize with a guy my size who hates exercise. Cut back on cake and start losing weight without exercise. But that won't shift my jelly belly midriff, I'll have to exercise.